I'll wait for your cue. We are live. I hear myself out there, so it is working. Well, good evening, everybody. I will go ahead and at 6 o'clock call to order the Public Power Steering Committee here today on April 25th at 6 p.m. I will do a roll call. Joe Dessenberger, Jared West, here. Bryce Turner, Randy Jackson, Travis Bryant, here. Stacy Lacey, here. Brian Shelton, Corey Gibson, here. Barry Smith, here. Rodney Eggleston, here. Barry Arbuckle, here. Chris Evans, Clint Bass, here. Gina Gregory, here. And Brent Clark, I am here. All right, well, let's stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not used to starting it off there, council members, so you got to pick that up for me. Okay, moving on to item number 4, which is the approval of tonight's agenda. The agenda has also been posted on our website as well as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Look for a motion.
Move to approve.
Moved by Gina. Oh, okay. Seconded by Joe, I heard. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes. All right, moving on to item number 5. Approval of minutes from the Public Power Committee minutes from February 23rd, 2022. Was there any changes anybody saw? All right, I'll look for a motion.
Second.
Moved by Stacy, seconded by Gina. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, moving right along. Underneath item number 6, new business. Item A, discussion and review of requests for proposals, RFPs, received. So as you saw emailed out, let me see, did everybody get a copy? I think so, besides Mr. Arbuckle. Yes, that's down and around. It's coming your way, Rodney. There we go. There you go. We received 2 proposals. And so we received one from EPSM and one from New Gen Strategies. Everybody, EPSIM Corporation, and then New Gen Strategies and Solutions. I did receive back from the committee 8 that did submit the score sheets back. As you've seen, I did pass out a master scoring list. This is just a combination total scores from everybody. I did not score one since I was the person collecting the score sheet. It never feels appropriate for me then to score if I know what everyone's scores are. So the EPSIM score was 467.5. And New Gen Strategies total score was 744. So quite a difference in total overall scores from the committee members that did submit one. Kind of wanted to open it up to general discussion if there was any. Kind of wanted to kind of do that in item A here, and then in item B kind of discuss potential next steps with those scores that we received. And those things we'll discuss in item B. But item A, kind of open it up for any discussion as everyone was reviewing them. Anything jump out to you? Any questions you had regarding what you were reading? Kind of open it up to the committee.
I kind of looking through both. I figured with as many people working under the New Gen staff, that one was going to be a little bit more costly. And it ended up kind of the opposite. So I was a bit surprised at that. Because it did appear with
The SIM.
SIM, because it's one person. It's the way and maybe a few other people, but mainly it's just that one guy that's doing the feasibility study, right? If I read it correctly.
That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a smaller operation.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Phase one, and then depending on how phase one went, how feasibly it showed,
Right.
right whether they automatically went into phase two. It seemed like the other one had both phases already included in there.
Yeah, that's what it kind of looked like to me too.
Yeah, in fact, the new gen basically said they wanted to do time and materials for phase two, which at the rates they had in their rate card could be really expensive on round two.
I was a little bit disappointed in the SIM really doesn't have a lot of expertise in this. A lot of expertise in setting up power plants, not a lot of expertise in public power studies where New Gen has had multiple have the staff on hand with the different disciplines. Cost wise, it just gives the council out at the some of their number of their studies. They got to phase one and the council decided. At least with this one, we know New Gen's not going to, based on their past history, jam the entire process down. Let them make that decision.
And I did notice the time, 3.5 months versus 10 months, if my math is right. So that makes sense with the staff that they have involved. But the way I read it with EPSIM is that there was just a preliminary discussion of phase two. I don't think that included a full phase two, did it? Or did I read it incorrectly?
I thought it was kind of hard to really nail down,
Yeah.
exactly if it included the full phase two or just kind of a quick
That's how I
recap of it. And so, yeah, there's going to be some of those questions. And, if we wanted to bring both in for interviews, that's a lot of times, kind of questions that you ask is, clarifying, questions that you may want answered in those things. If we feel that we should bring in both or, with those scores, we'll talk about next item, but, with the scores, do you kind of even, not necessarily waste time, but might be able to expedite it, especially with, new gen strategies with their, timeline and those things, and being able to get some things done that might be beneficial too. But it's going to be ultimately up to you all as the committee members. But yeah, I think it touched a little on I don't know if it included all of phase two, but
The way I took it, it was just almost just like discussing the beginning of phase two, and then I don't think it was the phase two part.
I kind of agree with you a little bit. I don't think he could possibly cover the full scope of phase two because there's no way you're going to be able to assess this system without somebody here.
Yeah.
And he's only planning on three short trips to here. You're not going to do an inspection. They're not going to provide any resources to do a physical inventory of any kind, or even clarify the substations, other things that some of these outlying areas are getting service from. He can't do that from there. And so I feel like it'd be difficult.
Taking the time to think that funds may not be given freely.
Right.
yeah, there was one question, Mr. Arbuckle. I don't know if you know from the legal standpoint. I mean, do they have to provide reasonable timeline of data and information? Well, I appreciate that. And let's note the record, the date, the time where an attorney said that another attorney's fees are a little high. I mean, sorry, I can't jump over that one.
Did you get that, baby?
But you're right, and that's what kind of confused. I don't know, from just me reviewing them, if it included what parts of phase two, because you'd think there'd be more of the legalities and on the next step more so than the first.
I think it's difficult for me to even believe that the EPSIM guy has the qualifications to do the job, because you go through there and look at the history of what he's done, and most of his experience is not with this current company. Most of it, and none of them have been, none of the public power stuff he's done has been successful. And it was confusing to me that they kind of both claimed that they worked on the city of Boulder. That was a little bit interesting.
It was at different times, I think, but the other thing.
And Boulder took a long time. And so I actually know
Oh, no,
the city
that-
manager, Jane, there, Virgin, I forget who. But that took forever. And so they could have, worked on it. It's like the city of Wichita when they looked at it in the early 2000s. I mean, it took a lot of different firms, a lot of different folks trying to figure out if it's feasible. But sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Oh, no, and the other part that really concerned me about saying that personally, I feel almost disqualifies them when they cannot provide a sample of their work, which was required by the RFP request. When they say that they can't provide it because it's confidential by nature, but we're talking about public power, so it should have been a it's not like this with a private utility or something. They have concerns with their competitors. Something that he could have provided us from a public study would have been open record. So really has some concerns about it.
I agree with that.
That plus the fact that he didn't provide resumes for anybody but himself.
Right.
And we know that there are going to be other people involved.
Absolutely.
Well, he said so, that he will call in help. But
Not in the
from
proposal.
whom and how qualified are they? It's just, that bothered me.
Now, the other one, the main concern I had is that their rates are extremely high. And so if phase two goes into time and materials, or they come back and we say we want to proceed, and they're the only ones in the game, that could be a pretty costly second round, in my opinion.
And really, what we're trying to decide tonight, is which of the two, since we only received two, unfortunately, is to take to the next step. Of course, when it comes to contract language and lump sum fees and all those things, we'll get to that point where the council, will ultimately be the one to approve a contract. And so, their budget is really just a budget estimate. So, tonight we really need to figure out, just a good discussion on how everybody felt, because not everybody's reviewed proposals before. So, I mean, this is brand new to a lot of folks on the committee. So want to answer, any questions and concerns, or if they felt like they had a good opportunity to really understand an RFP and what they were reading.
One question I had is, there was only two that submitted. How did we come about getting it to those two? And are there not more organizations that do this? And why did they? Is it just something they didn't want to get interested in or involved in? Or?
Yep. And so I believe we sent it out an email list of about 14 different firms across the country that specialize in this area. We had received that from KMEA, Kansas Municipal Electric agency, and then also from the city of Pittsburgh on the ones that they sent theirs out to in 2014 or 15 is when I think they sent out their proposals, somewhere around there. And so that was the list that we had emailed everybody, and some emailed back and said we're just way too busy, understaffed, like everybody. And so I was hoping for at least 5.
Right.
I was surprised in the only 2, but other firms did say, hey, we'd love to if this was on, in 2 years when we're
The tough
when we're
one, there's
available.
just 2 and they're so different.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're completely different. So
Would it behoove us to visit with some of the other 118 cities in Kansas who have municipal electric power?
Yes, I think as we go through the process and go through the endeavor of municipalizing, yes, I think we talk to them. There hasn't been, besides Greensburg, I think is the last one that actually municipalized recently. Most of those were established that way. And so when they were founded and they were incorporated is when it's how long they've had their own public power. So as far as, from firms helping them out, the only ones really, city of Pittsburgh is the most recent one kind of to date that's gone through this process.
Okay.
Unfortunately. Maybe after us, I know there's a lot of people watching.
Well, I was encouraged that they had a successful example. I mean, so that was encouraging that they'd been through it successful. Yeah.
All right. Anything else on item 6A here? Oh, Mr. Arbuckle, I'm hearing that folks at home aren't able to hear you. So if you want to make sure to slide that mic more over towards you, that'd be great benefit to them. Thank you. All right. If there's nothing else in item 6A, we will move on to new business, item 6B, which is discussion and potential action regarding the next steps with RFPs. And so before you, in your packet, you will find kind of the tentative timeline that we had put in the proposal. This is, right now we are in the April 25th, right on track, right on schedule. I like when that works. For the Public Power Committee reviewing of the RFP. And then we did have, the consultant interviews with the committee the week of May 16th. Now, if that's something that we feel or that you guys and committee members want to do still, absolutely, we can ask each one of them to come in. Of course, they're not from the state. And so, this would be an expense for them and their firms to come and interview with us. Or if you feel that there's a clear favorite or a clear, score differential, between the two, and we want to focus on maybe working with just one, we absolutely can do that. We can skip through the steps. It states that in the RFP that we do not have to, go through each step if we don't feel it's necessary to. So we could jump and expedite this and put something before the council as far as having the council interview the 2 consultants, or even just put on there your recommendation for a firm to approve on the May 17th council meeting as well. So correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Arbuckle, but since we received 2 and in our RFP, it says we can.
If we think that only one is really responsive to our needs, we don't have to request the other 2. If I were making a motion, I want to bring this person in for an interview. One question, or do we want to wait and see if there's potential of developing other interest? If we don't think there is, my motion and my thought is just to bring this one. That's just fine.
That's what I was gonna say. Even if we knew right now that we wanted to pick just the one company, I'd still say that they should come in and be asked questions, how their process works.
I would be okay if this questioning is done by the council.
Yeah, I think if we had like 3 or 4 and we want to narrow it down to 2 before we send it off to the council, I think that'd be a little bit different.
And that was kind of the hope, when we came up with this timeline that we're going to have, maybe quite a few to pick from to send. So yeah, that would have worked out perfect.
There's a couple ideas. One is, would you be able to connect with others to make sure vet the company? Because we're just looking at paper. I mean, I'm just looking at paper. I don't have no history with them. And then 2, what I typically do, at least in our industry, is possibly have them present a mock contract so that the attorney can review it in advance in case there's just some red flag that none of us are seeing right now based on a proposal that would stop the process and then take it back. That's just 2 things I would think about before the council sees it. I don't know that I need to interview them. When we're seeing 1, which it sounds as though all agreements and our scores show that maybe the next steps is vetting mock contract just to see what it looks like. And then if those things turn out okay, then move it forward to the council for review. But
Yeah, and we can absolutely, we can call all the, the references, listed and talk to them, of course, before it goes to the council if.
just in case something comes up that would stop the process.
Absolutely.
I think checking the references at least would be good because kind of one question that might come up is, okay, if everybody else is too busy, why are they not too busy? So are they just that large that they have that much capacity, or are they maybe not getting some of the other bids? Yeah, it could be.
Council provided background.
Seconded by Rodney. Motioned by Joe. All right. Any further discussion? Anything else? All right. Hearing none, we will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There we go. Passes unanimously. All right, and we'll and I of course will call references. Mr. Smith and myself will call references and follow up with that prior to sending it to the council. And then once we do receive any correspondence or information, we'll make sure to send it out to the committee as well, so you can review it. And then we'll kind of wait for the council to do the interview. We'll probably structure it to where they can have an interview and potentially pass, award the bid the same evening. And then that following council meeting is when then we would have the full contract, and probably try to schedule a meeting with this committee in between those 2 meetings. So then you can all review the contract and give your blessing on it before it gets approved by council. That sounds all right with everybody, kind of discussing the next steps. All right. Done with item 6B. Moving right along to item 6C, general discussion. We have 2 new members that are joining us this evening that didn't come to the first one. I didn't know if you guys want to quick do an introduction. Last time we did kind of a introduction on who we are and kind of why we are interested on serving on the committee. I think that, we had to do it last time, right? And so, I mean, I think that, it's time that, we'll start to my left here with Mr. Jared West.
My name is Jared West, obviously. I work with JP Wygand, And the reason I was interested in being on the committee is, A, I want to learn how committees work, and I thought this would be a good one to jump in on. B, I've lived in communities that have their own power. It's something I'm kind of passionate about. I've seen it. I've seen how the bills here are versus the bills where I've lived. It's night and day different. For some reason, there's people in the community, probably because everybody in this room knows I'm very outspoken. There's people that keep reaching out to me. Hey, put this question on your list to ask. Put this question on your list to ask. So I said, well, what the heck, I'm going to try.
Wonderful. And how long have you lived in Valley?
15 years now.
Well, thanks. Thanks for being on the committee. Dr. Gibson?
Corey Gibson, proud superintendent of Valley Center School District for the last now decade at the end of this school year. Kind of two interests. Obviously, one is representing myself, right? I live here too. I pay the same bills as all of you. And then the second, of course, is my day job, and that's the responsibility of the taxpayers to make sure that whatever might happen has an impact, obviously, on the school district and our consumption of energy. Proud to not only serve as superintendent, but serve on the committee.
And of course, our largest employer in the community as well. So it's always important to have that aspect. All right. Anything else for the good of the committee? All right. Moving right along to item number 7. No. All right. There we go. Motioned by Joe, seconded by Stacy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, we are adjourned at 6:28.